I have been sitting here thinking about this Minnesota Vikings team, and honestly, the roller coaster ride never seems to end in the Twin Cities. Something is developing right now that could shake up everything for our defense and our quarterback situation in ways we did not see coming. What makes this so compelling is how the front office is navigating these high-stakes decisions and shifting personnel in real time. The more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city below. Let's get into it. The Minnesota Vikings have officially traded pass rusher Jonathan Greenard to the Philadelphia Eagles, marking a significant shift for our defense just as the 2026 season approaches. Greenard arrived in Minneapolis back in March of 2024, signing a substantial 4-year, $76 million contract that signaled our front office's commitment to building a premier pass rush under defensive coordinator Brian Flores. He quickly became a cornerstone of our defensive identity, earning the respect of the locker room and the faithful supporters who watched him consistently pressure opposing quarterbacks. However, as the 2026 draft unfolded, contract negotiations hit a standstill when Greenard requested a significant pay raise that the organization felt was untenable. The team ultimately opted to move on, securing a valuable return of 2 third-round picks in exchange for his departure. This move not only relieves us of $12 million in salary cap obligations for the upcoming year, but it also signals a new era for Dallas Turner, who is now expected to step into a primary starting role on the edge. The news has left many of us feeling a mix of frustration and uncertainty. We understand the cold reality of the business side of professional football, yet losing a proven talent like Greenard stings, especially after watching him anchor our defensive front for 2 productive seasons. Fans are naturally concerned about the depth of our pass rush and whether young players like Turner can fill such big shoes immediately. The bottom line here is that management is placing a massive amount of faith in the development of our youth, and while the extra draft capital provides long-term flexibility, the immediate challenge of maintaining our defensive pressure is going to be the defining narrative of our season as we look toward the opening kickoff. The departure of Jonathan Greenard marks a significant shift in our defensive philosophy that stems directly from a stubborn impasse regarding his market value. After signing a massive 4-year, $76 million contract back in 2024, Greenard sought a premium raise that our front office simply deemed fiscally irresponsible. This standoff forced GM Nolan Teasley to pivot, shipping him to Philadelphia for 2 third-round picks, allowing the Eagles to satisfy his desire for a $100 million deal. We have seen this brand of hard-nosed negotiation before with veteran stars who believe their production outweighs the long-term cap stability required for a championship window. Behind closed doors, Kevin O'Connell and his staff are surely betting on the internal development of Dallas Turner, viewing this transition as a necessary evolution rather than a simple loss. They are calculated risk-takers who prioritize team-friendly structures over individual leverage, even if it leaves us temporarily vulnerable. This is where it gets real because we must now address the immediate depth concerns at the edge position. Bringing in a veteran like Leonard Floyd makes sense for our culture, as his history with O'Connell during that glorious Super Bowl run in Los Angeles provides a ready-made bridge for our younger players. While his mid-30s age profile raises fair questions about durability, his experience provides an essential insurance policy should injuries strike our core pass rushers during the heat of the season. The front office is clearly prioritizing a high-floor strategy to ensure the defensive unit remains competitive. By opting for strategic veteran depth instead of chasing blockbuster names, our leadership is signaling that they trust their system to overcome the void left by Greenard. They are building for the long haul, even if the current path requires some difficult personnel changes to keep our financial house in order moving forward. The departure of Jonathan Greenard shifts the very foundation of our defense at a moment when we can least afford a lapse in production. We are staring down a transition that moves Dallas Turner into a marquee starting role, which places an immense burden on our remaining depth to hold the line. By trading away Greenard, the front office managed to clear $12 million in cap space for 2026, giving us the flexibility to pursue veterans like Leonard Floyd, but it leaves us paper thin at the edge. If an injury strikes our starters, our pass rush could evaporate overnight, turning promising defensive stands into long, frustrating afternoons for our secondary. This strategic gamble essentially forces Kevin O'Connell to lean heavily on his previous relationships to shore up the roster before the season intensifies. When you consider our upcoming schedule featuring physical matchups against elite offenses, we simply cannot afford to have a liability at the line of scrimmage. While the Kyler Murray arrival generates headlines, the reality is that a winning season depends on a balanced team, not just a flashy quarterback switch. If we fail to add a veteran stabilizer like Floyd, our standing against division rivals like Detroit becomes significantly more precarious, potentially costing us the crucial depth needed to survive a deep playoff run. The truth is that we are betting on youth and scheme to outperform seasoned veterans across the league. That is a dangerous game to play in the modern NFL, where one or two key personnel gaps can turn a championship contender into an also-ran by November. We need to be realistic about our current trajectory as the margin for error has vanished, and our playoff hopes now rest entirely on whether our defensive staff can maximize the potential of these young, unproven players in the heat of battle. The prospect of Kyler Murray leading our offense brings a fascinating shift in expectations that we must weigh carefully. On the positive side, Murray is an elite athlete with a rare capacity for improvisation that can stress even the most disciplined defensive units. Under Kevin O'Connell's guidance, he finally has the tactical structure and a high-caliber supporting cast, including Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, to maximize his raw talent. Many league analysts, including Nick Shook, argue that this environment is exactly what he needs to restore his status as a top-tier playmaker. However, the downside is significant because this move effectively pauses the development of J.J. McCarthy. Bringing in a veteran quarterback seeking a career rebirth creates an immediate win-now mandate, which leaves very little room for a younger signal caller to learn the ropes. If this experiment with Murray fails to produce immediate playoff success, the organization faces a difficult transition with a bench-bound rookie who may struggle to find his rhythm later. Other teams and media pundits are watching this closely, suggesting that our front office is putting all its chips on the table to capitalize on our current roster window. Here is where I land on this. While I acknowledge the high ceiling Murray provides, I find it difficult to move away from the potential longevity and growth that McCarthy offers. It feels like a gamble that prioritizes a temporary fix over the long-term vision we hope to build. If we are truly one quarterback away from a championship, then Murray is a logical, albeit aggressive gamble for our staff to take. Yet, the pressure is now immense because anything short of a deep postseason run will leave us questioning whether we sacrificed our future for a fleeting moment of glory in this demanding division. The bottom line is that the Minnesota Vikings are entering a season defined by aggressive transition and a high-stakes bet on immediate success. By moving on from Jonathan Greenard and potentially bringing in a veteran like Leonard Floyd, the front office is clearly prioritizing depth and flexibility to protect the starting lineup. This strategic shift, combined with the bold decision to prioritize Kyler Murray over J.J. McCarthy, signals that head coach Kevin O'Connell is not interested in a slow rebuild. He wants a veteran leader who can win games right now, leveraging a roster loaded with offensive weapons. As fans, you should feel a mix of excitement and caution because this franchise is swinging for the fences. The team is clearly putting all their chips into the center of the table, aiming to maximize this specific championship window before the landscape of the roster changes again. While it is tough to see young talent like McCarthy sidelined, this approach keeps our expectations high for a deep postseason run. We have the offensive firepower to compete with anyone, provided the defensive unit stays healthy and disciplined under this new rotation. It is a bold, uncompromising direction that shows Nolan Teasley and the coaching staff are focused solely on reaching the Super Bowl immediately. With the quarterback situation becoming a major talking point, I want to hear your thoughts on this gamble. Do you believe trusting a veteran like Kyler Murray is the right path to a championship, or should the team have remained patient with the younger J.J. McCarthy instead? Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Skol! I'll see you in the next one.